What's cool about that is when you run project config or config package request, the agent takes care of everything it needs to be able to pass off everything to the worker to be able to do everything it needs to. So technically, as long as there's a connectivity, internet connectivity or network connectivity between these two hosts, you can have builds on a completely different machine than the machine that you're working on, right? And so this would be very nice if like you had a very heavy build, or if you wanted to have like a lot of caching or things like that. You could lean on the cache and the build's performance of the worker, where, you know, it being even in the cloud or somewhere else. So what happens is the store takes that compressed, right? That compressed source, and it ships it up to the store service on the Vorpal worker. And it says, does it exist? So it checks to see if it exists first. The reason why it does that is if in the off chance that you are running the worker on the same host as the development host, then technically you don't need to push anything up, right? So in this scenario, you wouldn't have to push anything to the store. You would simply just check if it exists already, and then if it does, you can immediately move beyond to the next step. If it doesn't exist, right, then we would prepare the source. So we would then upload the source via package prepare request, right? That would then put the source into the store, and then we would build that software immediately. And that's what happens underneath the hood. These are basically the steps of requests that are required to build the software. And then once the software is done and built, we go back out and we say, okay, well, does the software exist in the store on the worker? And if it does, then we fetch that data. And so that is what you're about to see me do right now. So basically, if we look at the very top, we'll see that it found my source files. It computed hashes for it to make sure that it was valid. It gave me my script as well. So the script that's actually running in the build environment. And then it started running that script in our build environment. And so if I go down here, you can see I'm actually getting output from the sandbox. But this output is not on the system technically, or I mean, it is technically, but in this scenario, it wouldn't be potentially. Meaning that even though I'm seeing this in real-time output as like a log output, this could be a completely different server in the cloud, right? So this is kind of nice even for things like, you know, this is like the CI CD element of it, which is pretty interesting, which is, you know, being able to run workloads on other hosts and get that result. And so now if I go to my store, we should see a new directory, Vorpal SDK without .source. If I go to bin, there's Vorpal right there. So yeah, we got it. We got it successfully building. Vorpal is now successfully building Vorpal. So I think there's a few things I need to do left. I need to commit all this stuff up, push it up, make sure that everything is in a good enough space to be able to move forward on it. But I think the next thing that we need to do is we need to figure out packages. We need to figure out how like these shared packages are going to get distributed within the community. There's been conversations of like using something like Q or other like, you know, formats to have like a unified interface so that people, if you're on like Go, could just import that config, or, you know, other languages. There's the potential of us doing that, and then making the SDK have like a import basically feature or something like that. But I think that's something we need to do. We need to figure out how to get these out of the SDK, but make them as like imports. So you could do like use, you know, Vorpal packages, and then, you know, you could say like Rust C, right? And then that would be the package that you need, and give you everything you need. So I do want to figure that out, the repackaging and like the distributedness. And then another thing I want to figure out as well is like within the SDK, this is a package new, but realistically what I would kind of want to do is like a pub async function, like build Rust or build Rust package, right? And the idea here is that if you are a Rust developer, right, then all you would have to worry about is passing in parameters to build Rust package, and then everything else that you would need would be wired in. So like, for example, technically all of this